was in the dark against it all, but made it through the day. Cause I found my way. I found my way. In bad times, I know I'll be okay. Cause I found my way. Cause I found my way.
And we're back.
We're back.
Okay. So,
Hi.
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 Welcome back to Trauma Twins.
Drama twins. Kind of sounds like drama.
It does, but it is a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
I guess, yeah.
yeah, this is how we grow. It's experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, welcome back. I'm Dave.
I'm Sarah.
And the yin to my yang, we are the Trauma Twins. And today,
Who's the yin?
yin is from what I understand, yin is the receptive feminine principle.
So would I be the yin?
Yes, because it's the dark side of it, and you're definitely darker than I am.
I love it.
Yeah, and again, I like the receptive, but I like that yin is the smaller word of the two because you're the
Yeah.
smaller version, and then yang is
I
the
love
masculine
that,
principle,
yeah.
even though that's
You
debatable.
always find those little...
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. We still need to get a tattoo. I can't believe we
We've been
haven't
saying
got
this
one.
for years.
Yeah.
We
I know.
agreed
But-
on
and
the
we're
penny.
all tattooed up.
The penny.
Penny with the yin yang, right?
Yeah.
Do you want to do just half of it, or
I think each of us has like... Ooh, that's a good idea.
should we do it like we do that, and it's like
No.
it makes the full? Oh,
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. We'll think about this.
We could do like I have the head or you have the tail.
Yeah, or the reverse side.
Yeah.
I like that.
I
like
don't know.
that.
We'll see. Okay.
Oh, I like that a lot.
Ooh,
Anyway,
ooh, we just came up with an idea.
so yeah, today this is really our second attempt at this. Our second podcast. Is this what we're calling it?
Stream?
Stream.
Second
Yeah,
stream.
stream. But we'll turn it into a podcast, I bet.
Yes.
So it will be available another way. But anyway, what we want to do is kind of introduce a flow, get to know us a little, and why we are undertaking this. What's the point of this? And then we want to share with you a book that kind of really inspired us and changed our lives and set our thought process, and it validated what we knew and experienced. And we'll talk about that at the end. But
We're readers.
yeah.
So you're going to get a lot of book recommendations.
Good, yeah, we're good book club kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you like to read, but anyway, it's going to be exciting to explore these.
Spirit is exciting.
Yeah, how spirit shows up in your life, which comes with that your intuition growing, which is born out of going through hard, difficult things and then healing
Absolutely.
them. So let's start with you. Spiritual evolution. We grew up in the church.
Yes.
Yes, so this might be an angle that a lot of you can relate to. If not, it's definitely got cult-like elements if you watch those docuseries. But
It is.
so
I think that speaks to right now what we're going through with the Trump and the Christianity kind of linked. It's very
yes, yeah,
a cult mentality.
Yeah.
You do as you're told, you follow, you're a sheep.
yeah, a lot of that we're still working out now.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about your experience. I guess we'll do a brief overview of your experience from the church,
Okay.
your relationships, and then up to your spiritual awakening or your awareness deepening, for those who don't call it that.
My awareness has always been deep.
Oh, hot.
So I think anybody who grows up in church can relate to, you've always kind of had a sense of you're in touch with something. I never really understood some of the things that I was taught. We grew up non-denominational, Pentecostal, so there was like a lot of tongues going on, like
Speaking in tongues.
Kandai Shandai lady. That will forever. A Kandai, a Shandai. And then her husband every week would translate a different version, but she said the same words every time. I saw a lot of things I didn't understand, and
There
that's
were
kind of
not
hard.
snakes. There were no snakes.
No snakes. A lot of
Good level.
dancing and crying hysterically, and it's very confusing for a child to process that.
But then one day you're
As a psychologist degreed person, I now understand how traumatic that can be for a young child to see adults behave in the manner that I did. But No, I think that I always knew I was protected. I think that's something
I
you've
feel that
always
way.
have felt.
Yes.
I always knew I was guided.
Which we
And
associated with God.
yes,
In the church.
100%. And I think that you'll probably find with our language that we use, God and universe and spirit is very interchangeable for us now.
Yeah.
It's kind of evolved.
Big time. Big time.
Whereas you have a little bit more of a closed-minded approach when you are a Christian or you subscribe to a religion. To me, God is everything and everywhere and every one of us. We're all a part of it. So I've always known that it was there. I think leaving the church, I left probably when our family fell apart is when we stopped going and I pulled out of it.
Which was what? High school for you?
That was my senior year, maybe junior year.
Yeah. Our parents
year-
split.
Yep.
But there's a lot more to that, which will come up in time.
Yeah.
But, so different states. You had
So
to-
at that
you were pulled.
point, a lot had went down with you. And, you know, obviously if you can't tell he's gay. So that was not okay with the Christian church.
Yeah.
I know, shocker, right?
Yeah.
So things went down that I was not okay with. And to give you an idea, I'm a Leo sun, Cancer moon, Scorpio rising. Yes, I know. So I feel things, and I'm very empathetic. And to see him go through the things that he went through, I did not understand that that was a God that I wanted to serve or that I believed in. And I rebelled hardcore. I
And
pedaled
it really
to the metal.
It wasn't God. Even though we kind of knew that, it was the culture that represented him, the community that
Right.
preached agape
Well, I think-
and unconditional love. But then you find out it's very conditional and
It's confusing in the sense
manipulative.
of, you know, I had to memorize John 3:16, but also I had to learn about God who burnt down a whole city.
many cities.
So it's hard to compartmentalize that, you know, we were created and you have to be saved to go to this beautiful place, but yet a 6-year-old can die in a car accident. So where are they going? Are they going to
India.
heaven or hell? And like, that's it's hard to kind of, know,
it's messed up.
you
It doesn't
don't
make
you don't know
sense.
how to
You
make
challenge
sense of it.
yeah.
And so I think in my early 20s, late teens is when I really just was like, screw this. I'm done. I don't want anything to do with
It's not
this.
making sense. Yeah.
I'm not here for it. Made a lot of poor choices and landed myself in really bad situations. And that's kind of when I was like, hey, something's got to change here. We gotta get our act together. And that's
What age
kind
was
of
that?
when I would say my late 20s. When I kind of, you know, your Saturn return. That's no joke.
Yeah.
When my Saturn returned is when it was full.
What's
full
a Saturn
on.
return for people?
It's
I got to be conscious about the lingo we use because a lot of people
Google it.
aren't coming.
Google
We
it.
don't need to do the work
Okay?
for you. Yeah. You know. No, but
It's when
it's a comeuppance or a time of.
I call it my come to Jesus moment.
Yeah.
Because
Saturn's known for bringing
Again,
the truth out. Yeah.
trauma comes up, and that's, you know, how
To be dealt
I
with.
make jokes of it. It's my come to Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus take the wheel moment.
See, it never quite leaves you. It's
It
still,
doesn't. That's how I make fun of it now. But yeah, that's your Saturn return. It's buckle up.
Buckle up. You're going to have to
You're
go through the
stripping
hard stuff.
everything away, and you're getting to the nitty gritty, and you're going to deal with some stuff. You're going to make some life choices.
So you start
And
dealing with this, and then you start
Yeah.
exploring, or
I think that prior to that, I had started to kind of do. Well, you're a history buff. Anybody who knows Dave, he's
Love history.
so fucking intelligent. It's ridiculous.
you.
And
you.
you have opened my eyes to different religions and different works of art. So I kind of had already started to
see connections, right?
see that everything, all religions were really the same thing and had all the same components, but they were just based around one person.
Yeah.
And that was kind of when my mind started kind of expanding to, I think we've got it, but we've got it wrong because everything's created by man And I think we've got the pieces.
So there's elements of the
There's
source.
truth in everything.
Yes,
There's
but-
truth in the Buddhism.
Yeah.
There's truth in Islam. We've got the pieces. But men aren't perfect, and nobody really knows what happens when we die.
And it's all got something, but there's
Paganism.
a lot of paths to source, right? And that's the magic of spirituality. Like you can find spirit.
It's in everybody.
And how it displays and how it comes to you is just as unique and individual as we are, you know?
Yeah.
So everyone has their own path to source because you are source. You
Yes.
are an expression of the divine.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh.
I like to think of it as the beam of the sun, and how each ray, we're each a different ray
Yeah.
of the same sun.
Spark,
We're all
yeah.
connected to the sun, which is source, the universe, God. And we're each our own individual ray of that.
Yeah.
And we're experiencing life in our own unique way.
Yeah. Yeah. And just trying to, take on as much light as we can, love and light. And I know that's a trite saying and ew, but at the same time, really, that's
We really
what we're here
are.
for.
Yeah.
Like, to love each other, to grow in that, and to just
To
be the best
experience
version
things,
of ourselves.
to
Yeah.
experience the pain.
Yeah.
I truly believe we have all signed up for this rodeo, and we at one time thought that this was a great idea, even though sometimes we have moments where we're like, did I really sign up
Why?
to do
Why
this?
am I doing this?
But every emotion that you feel is a gift to be able to feel it.
It's a chance
So,
to learn.
Yeah. What about you? How did you?
Well, you never really so you got to, when did that, you said at late 20s, but what was the catalyst to really help you dive into your spirituality, to want to start working with your
Oh,
your
100%
trauma
my
and,
divorce.
like wounds, your divorce.
My
There it is,
divorce.
yeah.
I
A tower moment,
as
if you
a
will.
person who grew up in the Christian world, having a divorce was not something I ever anticipated for myself.
Yeah.
And I felt like a huge, epic fucking failure.
Yeah.
It was something that I really struggled with.
Yeah.
I took vows and I took them seriously, and I honor my word. And that was something very, very difficult for me.
And as a caretaker, like that empathic side,
Yes.
on top of, I think, being a woman, that has a different dynamic in a relationship, like heteronormative relationship. It's just, there's a lot that you have to unpack through a divorce.
I had a lot to go through. I had to unpack how I got to where I was. I had to own my shit in
I was
it.
just about to say, our part in it.
It's easy for me to say what went wrong on his end, but I had to do the work of what went wrong on my end.
Yeah.
And how I didn't show up, how I wasn't my authentic self, how I lied by not being who I was and being in my truth. And we were two hurt individuals that just hurt each other.
And that, see, and like I hear the beauty in it, and I understand it, but it takes a lot to get there, and to own your stuff.
There were some
realize you're
dark
half the
nights.
equation. Yeah, and
Some
it's
very dark nights.
and they're usually when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, when
Yeah.
you're like sitting with yourself, because it's easy to be the victim when someone, oh, they did this to me, they did this, and you're never responsible for someone else's actions.
No.
However,
Which is why I say it's easy to say things like, oh, well, he had an affair and that's why. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to say things like that, but you have to really be honest with yourself and sit down and say, it takes two to dance here.
Yeah.
And where did I not show up?
Yeah.
Where did I
not
make
that you
decisions?
led to that, because
No,
again,
but you
everyone's got choice.
definitely
But there's dynamics at
perpetuate
play.
certain things in the relationship
Yeah.
that lead to certain behaviors or actions coming out,
Yeah.
and you have to own that.
Yeah.
Nobody's perfect. And so I think that was definitely my tower moment.
Tower moment meaning when things come crashing
My
down.
life is
Reality.
a tower moment, okay? Literally. My two cards, like you can get on Google and do like a little astrology app where it tells you like your two cards based off the
What-
month you were born and
What tarot archetype cards or major
Yes,
arcana
based
are
off of your month and the date you were born.
Yeah.
Mine is
Using
the
numerology.
Tower
Yeah.
and the Wheel of Fortune. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I couldn't have gotten anything
Always
better.
change. And I am the star, which is hope. And what's the other one? Strength, which is love.
fucking kidding? I got the tower. The tower.
The destroyer.
Legitimately, if you look at the card, there are 2 people falling off screaming. That's the card I got, and you're all sunshine and rainbows over there.
And that's what a spiritual awakening's like, but necessary. And that's the point. We have to have moments that are come to Jesus moments, because that's what shakes it up and shifts us. I love this analogy. I forgot who said it, but I think my friend Lisa, but she said, you can have all your ingredients, like say you're mixing, cookie batter or whatever. You got all your spices and it's there and all the pieces are there, but they're not active. It takes the mixing, the chaos, the swirling to make the magic thing that you become, like our more complete
the chemistry of it.
Oh, anyway.
Yeah.
For me, it was I've always been really sensitive and, but
Again,
as a little boy, that a sweet, sensitive soul, as RuPaul says. But no, it makes a difference because the world is not typically, and they lash out towards that. You know what I mean? They know you're different. They know you're an easy target because you care too much. But for me, it came in the form of the church, and I got invested, and I thought I was going to be a preacher at one time. Like you said, you feel connected to the divine. I've always had a sense of
the Kool-Aid,
trying to connect with source. But when that all crumbles, like when I realized...
When did it crumble for you?
When I realized like these homosexual feelings weren't going away, right?
Okay.
Like I was coming into my sexuality, but it took a lot to be honest with myself, because I knew, one, subconsciously I was going to lose my entire culture, my life as I knew it to that point, if I chose to come out. But I wanted to merge the two, but there was so much guilt and shame, and such a conflict when you've been told that you've been created as a
God's
sinner,
image.
but as sinful, like I come out of the womb sinful, like it's just that colors your life, your existence. But anyway, I went to an ex-gay ministry on threat of being kicked out of my house, and I did it for 6 months. And
which, can we just stop right there?
Oh.
Who thought up the idea to put a bunch of adolescent gay boys into a group and then try to get the gay out of them?
Let's
that
do this
to me
together.
sounds like an orgy waiting to happen. Like, who comes up with the idea? Who presented that at the board meeting? Like, this is what we do, okay?
And then imagine,
we put them all in a room together.
And imagine half of them have that that Catholic pent up guilt
Oh
and
my
stress.
God.
Like there's just the forbidden love. Oh, I was a monk for sure in a past life. Like the cloisters and with my brothers. Anyway.
Oh, I love it. Okay, I'm sorry. See, this is what I mean. It's funny once you heal from it. At the time, it was
But yeah, you're going because you feel you are less
now.
than and you are not worthy, and the shame and the guilt. That's the big thing about church. Why we're focusing on church trauma.
Yeah.
Is that's the color of our experience growing up with having that oppressive identity on us. It's colored a lot of things that we're still unpacking today.
Oh yeah,
like,
and I think a lot of people can relate to that generationally. Shame and guilt go way deep.
You can get it from just parents though.
That's what I mean. Generationally, that goes back for lineage.
Control, manipulation. It doesn't have to be in the form of like a religious
not
community. But again, I went to an ex-gay ministry, realized that wasn't for me, so I came out. But then I started a different season where
Which is so fun that he came out. Like we didn't
That's
know.
another story. Yeah, that's... Well, no, but
I know.
everyone was avoiding it. And not...
No.
But
yeah.
But I come into a season in my life that I became the party kid because I was avoiding a lot of that stuff. I was out on my own. I finally escaped that realm.
Yeah. You rebel.
And you rebel.
Yeah.
And that cost me. I was stuck in a cycle. I met someone very young. I was 20. He was 18. And we were pretty much like married together since, like...
Same.
Yeah. Until a few years ago. And it's just... getting together that young and not taking time to process your issues, your wounds, or even just be introspective enough to go to therapy and like examine these things, it sets patterns in motion, and they don't get dealt with. They just keep recycling, and those showed up. Issues with my parents. I found I had issues that I brought into my marriage relationship, my romantic relationship with my partner.
And he brings those in.
And he brings a lot of the wounds and triggers because we seek people out that activate that stuff because we're always consciously
That's what you're
or subconsciously.
comfortable with. You know that. You can handle crazy because that's familiar to you. That I don't want the crazy that I don't understand. I want the crazy that I know.
The devil you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also a subconscious thing where our psyches are drawing those people to us because we want to heal those emotional wounds that we have with our family of origin, you know?
I don't know if we want to heal them. I think that sometimes those are trauma bonds.
Well, I think our gut does, our soul,
Yeah. But I think sometimes it is a trauma bond in the sense of it's just a pattern that we're playing out because that's what's been modeled for us.
Yeah, which is a teacher for us. Yeah.
And you can either wake up or you don't.
Yeah.
And you just
Well, it's coming back if you don't. That's the whole thing. Like,
yeah.
It'll come back because it's a pattern, and you can get out of a relationship, but you'll choose someone similar, you know, unless you deal with it, you know. But yeah, my tower moment was my divorce too, and there's nothing like a middle-aged divorce to really just put everything into perspective. Like, who am I? Where am I going? What do I want out of life? Because it's not the same when you're like 20.
No.
You're young and you get like,
yeah.
And again, now you realize I got to face this stuff. I have to do the work because I don't want to be where I was. I don't got the time, literally, like mortality, but also I've done it before. I want I want someone who understands me, who sees me. I want to be a better version of myself and reach my potential, you know, whether that's career or spiritually or, you know.
I think there's something to be said too when you love as deeply as we did, because I think that we can both honestly sit here and say that in our first marriages, we were head over heels in love with the people that we were married to.
Yeah.
And to lose that, Dad always uses the expression in divorce is like losing a limb. It really truly is. And when you blow everything up and you lose everything that ever really mattered, that you've loved that deeply, it's kind of at that point you're just like, all right, we're dealing with everything because if I can take
I'm
that,
already in
if
the
I can
wounded
handle
state.
that,
Yeah.
bring it on.
Yeah.
I can handle anything.
And we were both the people that initiated our divorces because we knew that we couldn't do it because we tried to the point.
It reminds me of the book that we're going to be talking about, Signs. One of the women in there is talking about how it is very difficult to leave a marriage in general, but it's extremely difficult, and nobody talks about having to leave a marriage when you're still in love with the other person, but you realize if you stay, you won't be able to grow.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's exactly what it was for us. Exactly what it was for us. So I would say, like you said, also, I was always drawn to the spiritual stuff, and I had been exploring like psychics and the psychic shows, and I've always had an ear attuned to that. But it was after I really started processing that maybe this marriage isn't healthy and this isn't for me, and there are I could see other futures, you know, for myself. That's when I really started diving into my spirituality. Your gut, your spirit knows. I keep saying gut, but
it's your intuition.
It
your
knows
gut is
what
always
you
your
need.
intuition.
You know what you need, and it may take you a while to get there, but it's not going to go away until you deal with it. You know, you can try and drown it out.
You can silence it, and you can do a
escape
really
it.
good job of silencing it, but it never goes away.
Yeah, yeah. So that's and then ever since post-divorce, like it's a completely different world. Like I've been growing leaps and bounds, but I've also had the time and space to heal and do the work and to show up for myself and the perspective to do that. So hence why we're kind of doing this, and we want to just encourage other people at this platform. Like awareness is sexy. It is so sexy. Curiosity, it's just what we need, and it's time. It's time to grow. It is time to fucking grow.
It's time to heal.
Yes. Why stay in a state that you don't? I mean, there's better.
That's where we're always evolving. We need to don't take it from me, the girl, the tower, and the Wheel of Fortune.
And
I'm
hope.
all about burning the shit down and building it back up.
So you do enjoy it.
I kind of do.
Yeah.
I do.
I can't handle a lot.
No, I think that, that's how you change. That's how you grow. That's how you evolve.
Necessary.
Stagnant is not good.
Okay, so let's talk. Okay, again, this is going to segue into our next podcast, next episode that we're going to do, where we talk about signs. And I will do. This is the book right here. It's by Laura Lynn Jackson. She is a very known, reputable, she's done scientific studies, but a psychic who's worked with a ton of people. She's been on a ton of shows, very accurate, just a beautiful light in this world.
Yes.
And I really recommend this book. She's got a few, but this one is just, I think, super special because there's so many different anecdotal stories, but also just real life experience. Like through these stories, you see how it's all connected. That's one
Spirit
of the
shows up every day.
and seeing how it like common things can become miraculous moments for you to validate you, show you love, to show you that there's more. Like not just life after death, but our soul, our consciousness, it continues on, and why we're here, what we're doing. And again, it's all comes back to love and being together. Like it doesn't go away, right? The lessons we learn.
And I think another facet of it is how to be present.
Yeah.
How to be present in the moment now, and to recognize the signs when they show up.
Yeah.
Because if you are willing and you ask, they definitely deliver.
And that is definitely a great point. Like if you ask Spirit to show you or to reveal itself, it will show it. And that can be in the form of like guides or like loved ones who have passed. It can be just the great cosmic ether.
Angels.
And that
if you
comes,
believe in angels, anything.
but also in the form of your intuition, realizing you're connected to this divine matrix, that it's all the web of life, and you have
all
access
have-
to it because we're
yeah.
born with it,
We all have access. We all have gifts that we're given. You can have the gift of intuition, discernment kind of thing. You can have the gift of being a psychic. You can have the gift of being a teacher. You can have the gift. There's so many different gifts.
It's all here for a
and
reason. Yeah.
it's learning how to tune into your own
Frequency. Yes.
raising your frequency, your vibration, and molding that together to work and be your most authentic self.
Yeah, no,
And work as
that's
one
where
with-
the beauty is.
with
Like
the
we
universe.
all, and when you bring that cacophony, but it becomes a beautiful orchestra together. When we are living our best, most authentic selves, we bring that light to others, which helps others shine too,
Yes.
right?
Always.
So, well, where should we go from here? So, do you want to end it here?
I think we're going to, in the next one, talk about
The actual book, we'll do an introduction.
the actual book.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we can kind of maybe segue into a few signs
Yeah.
that we've
So,
received.
personal signs, that's great. Let's do that. So when we talk about spirit, again, there's different modalities of how you connect with spirit, with your intuition. And a lot of it happens while you're processing your shadows and you're working with your shadows and your wounds. For me, it was more oracle cards and like tarot, that I was always kind of interested into it. But when I started doing it myself and understanding how that randomized element, the universe uses randomized experiences to help create signs and patterns for us to understand ourselves better.
Or smack you in the face.
Yeah, literally sometimes it brings the knowledge.
Yeah.
But that's but
Did you get that?
because
Yep, got it.
really it's not about divination and tell me my future. These are like Jungian psychology, right? Carl Jung, the tarot, Jung.
Who has the degree?
But they're mirrors. These archetypes are in our mythology. They're in our ancient
Yeah.
Greeks and like the Egyptians. All of our myths and legends have these archetypes.
Yes.
And that's what they are. They just really show us phases of ourselves, of the human experience, and that's what tarot is. So when you work with these things, you cannot not learn and grow about
Right.
yourself when you start to sit with them and examine them. Like,
Well,
what-
and I think everybody has a different experience too.
Big time,
For
yeah.
some people, they read tarot. For other people, it's more of an image. They see a certain image in the card, and that's what resonates with
Mm-hmm.
them, not necessarily the number or what the card itself is called. But everybody's unique, so they put their own spin on it. And that's something about the spirit world is they're going to use whatever you
Yes.
give them to,
You build
to
your
speak
own.
to you.
You build your own
You
lexicon.
build a language.
Yeah, language with them, and
Yeah.
that's what this signs book is really encouraging. So I got to be honest. I am new to this, and I accidentally muted the last 10, 15 minutes of the pod, the stream. So I apologize. The book again is Signs, The Secret Language of the Universe by Laura Lynn Jackson. And I can't stress enough how much I really recommend this book. I've given it away more than any other book in my life just because of how deeply it resonates, the joy and the confirmation it's brought to my life, and the way it's opened my thinking about the interconnectedness of everything. So I really, really would love to have you follow along with us, like a little book club. We're going to jump in next episode, the first section of the book, part 1, and download it, get an Audible. But I would really love to hear from you, and I know Sarah would too. The point of all this is to make community with my whole Divinity Day brand. That's what I want to do, is I want to make community where we can have a safe space to talk about these things, potentially if we can't with our loved ones, or, if we don't have any friends that get it like we do. So I want to also invite you to the Garden of Divinity, which is my Discord channel, where we'll have a lot of this conversation going, but also for a whole slew of other topics. So I really want to hear from you. I want to see what you think of this book. If it resonates, if you've had experiences, comment on any of the Divinity Dave socials. I'll see you next week when we dive in. Take care, guys. Have a good week. Love you.
My way.